Hello everybody and welcome to this video where I'm going to be talking about the full changes coming to the Gwent Witcher card game in the new patch, which is now called patch 0.8.25. So between the stream that they did the other day and basically putting this patch list out today, they've changed the patch version number, but ultimately a lot of the changes that I talked about in my previous video, they are included in this patch. So let's get into it and see what all the changes are. We've already covered some of them, like the first one on the list here, which is the revamped clear skies, which I talked about in my last video. Go check it out. As a result of the change to clear skies, they have changed Dagon, the monster leader card, who is now capable of spawning First Light, the new version of clear skies. So in the previous patch, the current build of the game, or the previous patch to this, he was able to spawn a Biting Frost, Torrential Rain, or a Fog card. Now he also has the option of spawning a Clear Skies, or First Light as it's going to be called, which gives him the option then, he can play a Clear Skies and remove all weather effects from the board, or he will be able to rally and play a bronze unit. So that gives him basically two extra options. Again, because of the changes now to the way weather works in the game and the weather cards, the monsters have received a bit of a tweak in the fact that drowners now are going to be immune to rain. So that's a pretty big change to them, and a pretty good change, I think. As a result, their base strength has been knocked down slightly from 7 to 5. However, they've also been given a new ability. So drowners are able to take a non-gold unit on your opponent's board and move it to the siege row. So if you have got rain on the board and you play a drowner, he will remain 5 strength because he's immune to the rain, but you can take one of your opponent's units on the melee or ranged row and shove it into the rain affected siege row and give it a big debuff. And that is pretty cool. I like that change a lot. I'm looking forward to using that in my weather decks. What else have we got that's changed here? Field Marshal Duda. Strength has been changed from 1 to 3 on both forms. Now, Field Marshal Duda, of course, is the ability of the gold 7 strength Zoltan card. Basically, he's a little parrot that you can play on your opponent's board or on yours. And if played on your board, it will give a 2 strength buff to all units on that row. If you play it on the opponent's board, it gives a 2 strength debuff to all the units on that row. But basically, he's being given a buff to his base strength from 1 to 3. So yeah, when played on the opponent's board, you are going to nerf some health off them, but then you're also giving him 3 strength back. So it kind of narrows the nerf a bit. But if played on your side of the board, huge boost. Because not only are you getting the 2 strength from all the units, but you're gaining 3 strength from him as well. Win-win. Now I'm seeing a lot of changes coming in for the dwarves in the scoia'teal deck, which is brilliant, because I've just started building and playing a dwarf deck. So straight away, Mahakam Defenders have had their base strength change from 3 to 4. That's great, because now they can't be lacerated. Still obviously open to Manticore Venom, but again, it stops that kind of cheap play from your opponent when you're putting out your Mahakam Defenders, and then he comes along and just one-shot wipes them out. It's going to be a little bit harder to remove them now, and of course, the Mahakam Defenders still have the ability where, when played, they remain on the board. So if played in the first round, they'll be on the board in the second round, and on the board in the third round. Okay. Mahakam Guards. The strength of them has been changed from 3 to 4. Again, brilliant. Again, stops the lacerate option on the dwarves. Mahakam Guards now increase non-dwarf strength by 3 and dwarf strength by 5. So when played, they're able to add 5 to any dwarf unit, in the current build, but now they will also give 3 strength to a non-gold unit, a non-dwarf unit. So if you've got any elves in your deck or humans, whatever, you can buff them with it. And Mahakam guards are now frost immune as well. So they're not going to be affected by frost. That is pretty cool. I am loving those changes as someone who just last night put together a dwarf deck and started playing around with. What else have we got on the change list here? Botchlings now stays on the board for only 1 round. Again, nice little feature there. But again, someone putting that out can't keep pulling it, using it again and again every round. Looking at some of the other big changes on here. Ekimaras in the monster decks can no longer consume unrevealed ambush cards. So again, when playing scoia'teal, they obviously like to play a lot of ambush cards. One of the things the Ekimara could do in the past was basically negate that by consuming that card. Not anymore. They've changed that. Players can now choose on which row to place agile units summoned by reinforcements. Okay, pretty cool. Bunch of changes there to Harold the Cripple. He now deals 3 damage to opposing weakened units and 2 damage to all other opposing units. So that's a new tweak. That's a bit of a buff. Harold can also damage gold units. Really? Wow. Oh, Northern Realms, you're going to get a kick in. Harold no longer damages unrevealed cards. Okay, so again, scoia'teals with their ambush cards, face down, isn't going to affect them. Aglaze has had a strength change from 7 to 5. Barclay L's ability now affects gold dwarf cards as well. Oh, brilliant. I just crafted that card today to put into my dwarf deck. So now he's going to buff up my Zoltan 7 strength card, my Zoltan 5 strength card. He's going to buff up Skags. Oh, brilliant. Geralt Igni, as we covered in the video that I posted the other day, now requires the opposing row to have total 20 strength instead of 15. So that protects you a little bit from that overpowered Scorch effect. Morkvarg's strength has changed from 5 to 6. Ciri's strength has been changed from 8 to 6. Yep, there's the Ciri nerf I was talking about. Good to see that's in there. Berna Bran has had her strength change from 9 to 8. So she is a card you play on the opponent's side of the board. Gold card. So she 1 less strength being given to your opponent there. Slightly disappointing. Now she only draws 3 cards for you to choose from, as opposed to 4. In the current version, once you've played her on the opponent's board, you get the choice of basically picking a card from 3 to add to your hand. The other 3 get discarded to the graveyard. They've nerfed that down a bit now, so you only get the choice of 3 cards to pick from, so only 2 go into your graveyard. Again, stop some of that Skellige discard deck a bit, I suppose. They're trying to nerf that down a bit. What else have we got here? The young bear now gains 1 strength in the first appearing in round 2, and 2 strength if first appearing in round 3. So playing the young bear is now going to be more favourable in the later rounds. So again, I'm thinking now possibly Savage Bear, keeping the Savage Bear and then play him. He obviously gets weakened by the Savage Bear and then turns into the young bear. So in round 2, he's going to be an extra +1 strength. What does he come out as anyway? It comes out as a level. I'm sure is it level 5 or level 7 bear when he changes, when weakened. So he's going to gain 1 strength to that anyway. Wow, and 2 strength if appearing in if you save him right till the last round. Wicked. Elias strength changed from 3 to 4. Lorin ability change to add +1 to all elves. Play from deck when 5 or more elves are on your side. Griffins can now also move special cards from your opponent's graveyards, not just units. That's a handy feature to have. Change to weather. If a gold unit on a row with weather is converted to silver or bronze, its power is reduced to 1. Good change. So many times you see that, again, in like the Northern Realms play, where they'll debuff a card, take it from gold to silver, and buff up another card, and its base strength stays the same, even though it's on a weather row, so it should get crushed. That's fixed that little. I'm sure that was an exploit. That was a glitch. That was never meant to be a thing of the game. That was a bug. Caranthir is now immune to frost. Immolarith is now immune to frost. Woodland Spirit is now immune to fog. I thought they already were. Lord of Unvik is now immune to frost. Oh, crap. That's not a good change. But I suppose it stops the slight trick of playing the gold card, spawning him on your opponent's field, him getting hit by the weather. Your next play, you remove him and buff up the gold card you played the turn before. Yeah, that's gonna break up that play a bit, which of course turn that gold card into a 20 strength unit on your board. Units with 0 health shouldn't activate in most situations. Pretty cool. Here's a big change. Stammelford's Tremors now deals 2 damage to both sides of the board. Crap. You can't just cripple your opponent with it then. It's going to affect your units as well. That's not a good change. That means potentially, for me as a player, I will probably remove that from my decks and replace it with something like, I suppose, Manticore Venoms. Do it deal 4 damage, or Azur's Thunders, 6 damage. It's a shame they nerfed that card. Hawker Healer Strength has been changed from 1 to 2. Nice. So it doesn't get, I suppose so, it doesn't just get wiped out when playing against like Savage Bears or something. Commander's Horn is now removed from the game after playing, as we covered in the video the other day. Roach is no longer played from your hand when a gold card is played. Roach is only played when the owner of the Roach card plays a gold card. Yeah, that's a nice change. So if your opponent puts down a gold unit, your Roach isn't summoned to the board, or vice versa. Okay, Shani has had a strength change from 4 to 3. She's also no longer gold. That should also say. So she can be completely annihilated now from the game. She's a lacerator. Odrin's strength has changed from 5 to 4. Nice. So he can be taken out a little bit easier. Prince Dennis has had his strength change from 7 to 8. So he's received a buff. Priscilla has had a strength change from 1 to 2. So they've buffed her back up again following the last patch, which brought her down. So they're obviously we're going to be seeing the Priscilla maybe spam coming back, because now it's going to be harder to remove her from the board before she activates her ability. Because again, Priscilla was one of those cards that when they nerfed her down to 1, if you ran into like a Skellige deck which had like the Savage Bears, she was useless. She couldn't actually activate her ability because she was removed from the card before she had a chance to. So they've changed that back again now. So don't like that. I basically, and I'm going to say this now, as get it off my chest, I hate cards that can draw in and spawn other cards. I know that sounds weird coming from someone who plays monsters and breedables and stuff, but the fact that you've got cards like Priscilla that can bring back cards that have already been removed from the game, that's what I really mean to say, not spawn cards and stuff like that. It's resurrecting cards, basically. Bringing cards that you've got rid of from the game, either at the end of the round or by destroying. And it freaking annoys me when they sit there and boop, let's see, which one am I pulling back? No, you can't pull any back. I was good enough to get rid of those. You've lost them. Right, back to the patch notes. Reinforced trebuchets. The damage has changed from 1 to 2. Reinforced trebuchet countdown changed from 2 to 3. So he's had a slight buff in strength, but he's also had an extra turn added to his countdown timer. Reinforced ballista strength change from 4 to 6. Trebuchet strength has changed from 3 to 4. Cool. Gauntro Dim has had his strength change from 5 to 6. Not really a big change there. He can still be removed then. Golems have had their strength change from 5 to 6, so they're a little bit harder to remove now. Wild Hunt Warrior strength changed from 4 to 5, so they're getting a buff. And I guess they're slightly protected there, so from Manticore Venom, won't remove them from the board. And I'm guessing if you also ping your opponent, remove like a 1 strength card, he buffs up. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Radafid has had his damage change from 10 to 8. So he basically only deals 8 damage now when played, as opposed to 10. So he's not going to be so destructive. Ermion's had his strength change from 7 to 6, which means he can be removed by Yorveth and some other cards, as well as Radovid. We've got Drake Bondu, strength change from 2 to 4. Drake Bondu now has 1 base strength of units in the graveyard instead of adding 2 to current strength. Okay. So he adds 1 to the base strength only, not the current strength. So again, if you buffed up cards in your graveyard, that's not going to have an effect on them. Nifril strength change from 7 to 6. Hawker support strength change from 2 to 3. Nice. Again, that sort of protects them a little bit from savage bears and stuff. Hawker support ability only triggers with loyal special cards. Okay. Hawker support ability now only triggers once from Aeromancy. And Hawker support is now properly affected by the weather. Okay. So if weather is played on a row with Hawker support, he will get knocked down to 1 strength. He'll have all his buffs removed, as opposed to how it works currently, where he gets but then because you've played a special card, he buffs up. So yeah, that's how it should be. But again, for anyone who plays the scoia'teal control type deck, I don't know if it's going to make a lot of changes, because again, because he's I'm sure they're agile units, so they could be played on any row. So depending obviously on what deck your opponent's running, and knowing what sort of weather effects they're likely to have in their hand decks, you can obviously play around that. So it's only really going to be monsters where that becomes a problem, especially if they're running Dagon. They have so many ways to spawn weather on any row that you really can't dodge it. So Veerhead Vanguard strength change from 4 to 6. Veerhead Brigade strength change from 7 to 8. Clan Dimmer Pirate Captain strength change from 1 to 3. Good. He's not going to get murdered by savage bears on his own side. Clan Dimmer Pirate Captain buff change from 3 to 2. So he's been nerfed a little bit because he's had that strength change. His ability has been... War Longships have had their strength change from 3 to 5. Savage Bears have had their strength change from 5 to 3. Oh, come on. That's a crippling move, that is. Now they're just going to get lacerated and Manticore Venom to bloody hell. will completely wipe out Skellige's best removal and only real removal. Zoltan's animal tamer strength changed from 7 to 6. So the Zoltan card I was talking about earlier that spawns the Doodoo, Field Marshal Duda, he's been nerfed from 7 to 6. So he loses a strength and again puts him in danger of being removed at a 6. Isengrim now spawns 2 Commander Neophytes each time you play a special card. King Bran now gives +2 base strength to any units he discards. Dandelion's ability has been changed, as we covered. He now adds 2 strength to non-gold units when they appear on the board, and he's had his strength changed from 1 to 4. Monster's faction ability no longer targets resilient units. So again, things that have been, I suppose that means things that are, I'm assuming, again, that's not very clear, but I believe that's cards that have been like adrenaline rushed or that are automatically designed to remain on the board at the end of the round. Don't get kept. So it ignores those because they're already going to be kept to the next round, and it will pick something else. Very useful. Hopefully that stops it from retaining the prize-winning cow instead of letting that go and the chort appear. Geralt is now agile. We covered the promotion changes in the video the other day. Spawned copies of units or units spawned by other units are now always placed on the same row as the base unit. Okay. Philip has had a strength change from 12 to 10. Still not really seeing that's going to make people suddenly want to start playing her in their decks again. Weather change. If a unit is moved out of weather, its strength changes according to the clear weather rules. Okay, because they're bringing in this mechanic of being able to move units between rows. So if you've had a unit in weather and move it out, it will go back to its base strength correctly. Good. Dwarven mercenaries, strength change from 2 to 3. Again, buffing up the dwarves quite a lot here. I'm liking this. Changed the rarity of Wolves, Eredin, and Wild Hunt minion to Epic. Redanian elite buff removed due to technical issues. Strength changed from 4 to 6. What is that then? The Redanian elite buff has been removed due to technical issues. Don't quite get that, but so they buffed him up to a 6 strength unit. Added a new relentless category. Units in this category cannot be moved from the board to a player's hand by using decoy, etne, milver, etc. Yeah, we covered that. Operator and Regis are now relentless. Yes. Operator is now banished when destroyed. Yes. Johnny is now relentless and is removed from the game when destroyed. Johnny now never returns the exact same card. Okay. An ancient foglet now correctly dies before getting buffed when strength is 0 at the end of the turn. I'm liking that change as well. Despite being a monster deck user, I do find playing against monster decks, this card can be quite problematic. Because like you say, you try to remove it from the board using, any removal, Manticore Venom, Stammelford Tremors, Lacerates, etc. It goes to 0. If its strength is at 0 at the end, it then buffs back up again because of the fog thingy. So, yes. Glad that's gone. Caretaker has had the medic category removed from it. Interesting. Decoy and Nature's Gift are now banished after being played. So again, you cannot reuse those cards with other cards in your deck to basically be able to play them multiple times in a game. Earth Elemental now spawns 3 small elementals upon being removed. Margarita and Vez are now properly counted towards units promoted. Cool. Milva can no longer target herself when silver. Sabrina now only triggers upon entering the graveyard. Savage Bears now probably destroys cards before they trigger their abilities. Good, because it has been hit and miss, but I'm still thinking they've nerfed the Savage Bears too much by that earlier reduction to base strength. I think they're just trying to kill off bears. Spectral Whale is now immune to all weather. I saw that card for the first time in action the other day, and that is just, it just moves all over the board. I didn't like that at all. Ooh, don't like that card. Being played against me, it moves all around the board and strips damage off your rows every turn. I hadn't got any way of removing it. I wasn't running a deck with removal, and I was just like, oh, I'm getting murdered here, so I had to win pass the round. Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry strength changed from 4 to 5, and their promotion will trigger before Bork's Scorch. Nice. Priorities and numerous abilities were changed to make them feel correct. The medic category is now known as Permadeath. Permadeath units cannot be resurrected. Neneka, Shani, and Lubbokin are now in the Permadeath category, so they can't be resurrected. Brilliant. Stops the chaining of medics and summoning, pulling cards back out your graveyard, or as I like to call it on my videos, pulling cards out their ass. You know, it's like the guy when you're playing poker who keeps 4 aces up his sleeves. You know, it's like, I just feel that was such a cheap move. Siege towers will no longer buff themselves at 0 health in certain situations. Cool. Restoration now adds +2 base strength of the unit in the graveyard before the unit is resurrected. Excellent. Reanimated Craven has a higher ability priority, so his ability takes effect earlier when he appears. Yeah, Madman Lugus, as I covered in my last video, he's now got a 2-turn timer before he receives that buff to his strength from the units in your graveyard. So again, you can't just save him for the last play of the last round, whack him on the board and go, victory! Now you have to play him earlier, and because you're playing him earlier, your opponent has time to react to that and deal with them. So, kind of nerfed him. War Longships now recognises Morvag being discarded properly. Clan Demon Pirate Captain now recognises Clanocrate Raider being discarded properly. War Longships now recognise Clanocrate Raider being discarded properly. So again, the cards that are supposed to increase in strength and receive buffs when a unit is destroyed or discarded are now going to react to that. There was a couple of, obviously, again, these are bug fixes. These weren't happening in the game. The Grave Hag's ability now has a 2-turn timer, very similar to what they've done to Madman Lugos. So the Grave Hag, she adds, 1 strength for every unit in the graveyard, or 2 strength, something like that. And again, can't just save it now, got to play it early, which gives, again, the poor person on the receiving end chance to remove it before it gets that buff. Elven War Dancer's strength has changed from 2 to 4, and Clan Tordorok Shieldsmith have had their strength change from 4 to 5. Cool. Game fixes now. So we've had the card fixes and the changes to the cards. Now let's look at the game fixes. Fixed an issue whereby the game would fall out of sync when the scoia'teal faction ability timed out between rounds. There's a UI scaling option being added for Xbox One. They fixed the issue with a fireball trap that would only spawn only 1 Commander Neophyte instead of 2. Fixed an issue whereby the hide cards button caused one of the cards to be redrawn rather than all cards to be hidden. It's now possible to scroll through the main menu options. Cool. Cancel button after playing a card with a targeting ability removed from the UI. they've removed that from the UI rather than actually fixing it to make it work. That seems like a silly thing to do. Surely the option there is to fix it so it works. You know what I mean? When you play that card that has like that provides like a stat increase, but it's not eligible to target itself, and you think to yourself, oh god, so you want to cancel it because the last thing you want to do is target the enemy's units and give them a buff. You have no option now. They've removed, so yeah, rather than fix it, so you could cancel, they're going to make it so if you play the card, you're forced to give the positive effect to your opponent instead. Visual effects will no longer provide clues about the cards in your opponent's hand graveyard. Fixed issues where the game would become blocked while in the deck builder. Fixed issue whereby Commander's Horn would sometimes not play any effects. Fixed an issue whereby Elias would not be buffed by a commando neophyte unit died right after spawning. Fixed some issues with Shani's ability priority. Fixed an issue with a Tersiech Axeman ability priority while affected by weather. Fixed issues with various medic priorities related to weather. Fixed issue whereby War Longship would still deal damage even when its strength had reached 0. So when it reaches 0, it's not going to do its ability. It will just get off the board. Okay. Some game polishes. Fixed typos in the name of the author of the Siri card. Fixed Tor de Rock Shieldsmith's tooltip in German. Fixed Ice Giant's tooltip in Polish. Fixed Arakas Behemoth's tooltip in Polish. Fixed Priscilla's tooltip. It now collects she can draw any cards, not just units. Improved Mulligan struggling mechanics. Improved Russian font, thus eliminating a few issues. And numerous minor tooltip polishes, typos, punctuations, etc., etc. So there we go. There's the big list of changes coming into patch 0.8.25. So I hope you've liked what is coming. I hope it, gets the minds thinking now. How are you going to play around all these changes? What effect is that going to have on the game to come? And the decks that you're going to be seeing, building, and playing. And it's going to be interesting to see how see what other changes they've got planned for us down the line. So yeah, when is this patch going to come out, I wonder? Not this week now, probably next week, I would think. That's likely to drop on us sometime next week, I would think. So yeah, can't wait for that. I'm certainly looking at the list of changes just to the dwarves. I'm thinking my dwarf deck that I've built last night, and I'm going to be playing with a bit over the weekend, and that is going to become very, very strong once this patch hits. Because it does lack a little strength at the beginning when you start playing cards. As the rounds go on, with buffs and stuff, they do get stronger, and again, the way the deck's set up, it's designed to win the last 2 rounds, not the first round. But it's going to be very, very strong now. And some of the issues with the deck, when running into like opponent who runs heavy removal, that seems to be negated slightly by some of the base strength increases. Things like the Mahakan Defender. He's not going to get lacerated now. Your guards aren't going to get lacerated. Your dwarf strength's getting increased by 5 with a guard. Some cool changes there. Barclay Owls now affects gold dwarf cards, so your Zoltans are going to get buffed. Oh, I'm liking this patch. I'm liking the sounds of this patch. I'm loving. Can't wait for it to fall upon us. So for everyone who has been playing Gwent so far, I hope you are, as I say, looking forward to this patch dropping on us, and I will look forward to seeing many of you, hopefully, in-game in the coming weeks. For now, I am going to say farewell and leave you with this video. So, for now, it's bye-bye. I'll see you all later. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, leave comments below. I've told you. Do it.